There's a new threat coming to Appalachia. Along the Ohio River Valley, including parts of Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky, there are plans underway to create a new petrochemical hub for the creation of plastics from fracked natural gas derived from the local underground shale formations. This is called the Appalachian Storage Hub because the gases used would be stored in the region. This would seriously damage the air quality, water quality, environment, and human health in the region and downstream. Involved heavily in the fight for this money is the Appalachian Development Group, which is owned by the Mid-Atlantic Technology Research and Innovation Center, or MATRIC, and West Virginia University Innovation Corporation. West Virginia University has also contributed to the hub in the form of Professor Brian Anderson, who teaches in chemical engineering and is the director of the WVU Energy Institute. He used his position at the college to legitimize research on the prospects of a storage hub along the Ohio River, and he routinely spoke in front of oil and gas industry leaders promoting the storage hub. He now works for the U.S. Department of Energy, overseeing national programs, one of the many instances of cross-pollination between the industry and the offices overseeing it. On a U.S. trip to China, an $83.7 billion Memorandum of Understanding was signed for investment in this region. The man who signed this Memorandum of Understanding, Woody Thrasher, was at the time the Secretary of Commerce for West Virginia. He has since been forced to resign due to serious misuse of flood relief money, but also because he had a conflict of interest in the China deal. He owned 70% of the Thrasher Group, which does architecture, engineering, and construction for oil and gas endeavors, and didn't divest when he became secretary. Now he's running for governor. Central to all of the Appalachian Storage Hub plans, the Ohio River. The ethane crackers in development are spread between Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky. The sites have a tendency to be on opposite sides of the river from each other, such as with the proposed storage cavern and the fractionator plant that would serve it. This might have something to do with the different regulatory agencies, state EPAs and DEPs, as well as the 3 federal EPA zones separated by the Ohio River, all of which aren't great at communicating with each other. This could be unrelated, however it does seem fishy that the companies are spreading out among different states and zones. The Shell cracker in particular has already shown worrying signs in terms of the water pollution situation. The company bought the defunct Horsehead Zinc smelter and its contaminated site for the building of its ethane cracker, and along with it, the wastewater dumping permit. This is part of a trend of these companies buying already contaminated land called brownfields as sites for ethane crackers. In the case of Shell and PTTG, they're getting deals from the government for choosing these sites and promising to clean them up and build something new on them, as well as getting the water permits from the previous owners. This is important because these permits are old, given before 2010, and that means they aren't subject to the 2010 increases on restrictions to water pollutants like salt, minerals, and metals. And while the permits are being modified for the new use, the Pennsylvania DEP has let Shell be grandfathered in to the pre-2010 regulations because of their second-hand permit. The same seems like it may happen in Ohio with PTTG's permit. When the agencies are giving out permits, they have to make sure that the level of pollution in the river stays below a certain level, so that the water is suitable to be processed into safe drinking water. But at least in the case of the Ohio EPA Southeast District, they assume a base level of 0 pollutants while doing their calculations. Not great when you're downstream of Pennsylvania along the same river, soon to include an ethane cracker. According to the U.S. EPA, the Ohio River is the most polluted in the nation in terms of quantity of toxins, and this will be much worse if all these new facilities are built along the river. In addition to all of this, the underground storage facility and its associated reservoir of brine are both along the Ohio in a floodplain. Either a flood of the river to the point of mixing with the reservoir, the dam of the reservoir bursting, or the underground storage collapsing under the river would mean serious problems. This is bad news for the Ohio River and the 5.5 million people who depend on it for drinking water, which would be polluted and poisoned really badly. We've already seen what happens when a river is contaminated and unusable for drinking water, after a chemical spill in the Elk River shut off drinking water for 300,000 people for weeks in 2014. These companies are using shortcuts and workarounds to try and create the petrochemical valley here along the river, and in the process are gambling with the safety of the water of the Ohio and with the lives of the people here. We must stand up against attempts to weaken standards and to push projects through despite their risks and adverse effects on the world around them.